Hello, everyone, and welcome to the world of magic and miracles once again. We're about to take ourselves a little bit past where we've been during the week and probably past where we went the last couple of weeks. And the way we're going to do that is you just sit there and relax and keep your eyes on me, and things will just change. I'm just rambling a little bit to start with so that I can connect with everyone, and that you'll gradually feel kick in as I keep speaking. We've had a little bit of a technical difficulty and we're operating on one camera. So it'll be a little bit different and the sound will be pretty good though. So as we move forward, we've got to look at advancement in a much different light to what we look at every day. Advancement, unfortunately, has a definition that is set by limits. And the measurement is by comparison. In the world that belongs to everybody, there is no reference to comparison. You can advance without moving an inch. You can advance just by feeling a little bit better. You can advance by making $1 million. But the biggest advancement of all is when you can sit back and smile and say, I did it. Don't know what it was, but I did it and it worked. And as soon as I say something like that, you can feel it. So that is the world we're starting to access. The one that's active without reason. The one that you know about without question, because you can feel the energy straight away. You say, I did it. It worked. Whatever it was, it worked. And it's still working. My God, how does that happen? As soon as you say, how does it happen? It stops. And you'll feel the energy drop. So where we have to go is nowhere that we can measure. And where I can take you is nowhere you even have to know about. It's a natural state that humanity has at its fingertips. It hasn't quite stepped into it. Humanity itself as an entity can't step into it unless each individual decides they'll just step forward. And as we step forward, it has nothing to do with humanity. So there are no connections. We're not driven by the entity of humanity, but we're provided with the possibilities because we're part of that entity. So from here, you can't see anything. You can't feel anything unless you go to there. And that's the whole thing that the mind puts in order and makes sure that when you do step there, it takes you back out again so that you can describe it. Because you can't describe it when you're standing in the middle of it. It's too perfect. So you go to that place where everything is perfect, and it's not just a physical place, it's something you know about. It's not anything that you need to discover. But what your brain has to discover is that if it wants to describe everything, it has to stand back a bit to have a look. And so you never continuously experience anything. It wanders in, you go, whoa, that was great. And then it wanders out again. And then you spend the next 6 months saying, how do I get back there? And in fact, you don't have to. You just stop looking. As soon as you stop looking for what's missing, you're in there. And it's not in anything that you know, and it's not anything that's ever been written or spoken, because it's the only person who knows is you. And you can't describe it to anyone because as soon as you do, you step out of it. So it's the essence of living that affects everything around you. And as soon as you feel it, you can go with it. It's like chasing fairies. As soon as you feel it, you chase them, you feel it more. And as soon as you chase them again, you feel it more, and you can feel it build, and you can feel the sparkles. And the whole lot just keeps going, if you keep going. But I'm going to take you in and out so that you understand nothing, but you're able to do it. As we move out of the everyday turmoil, there's a sense of loss, because without something to lean on, you feel like you can't hold yourself up. And you lean on the turmoil, and you lean on the reactions, and you lean on anything, objections, the whole lot. They're the very things that make sure you'll never see anything or feel anything except what you're leaning on. I can make sure that that never happens again just by sitting here. And if you can feel that slight movement, you now have a support system, so you don't have to lean on anything. So as your field continues to move, it holds you up. Just like a top that you spin. Kids spin the top and it stands up and stays steady. And you can kick it and it stands up again until it loses momentum, then it falls over. The only thing that's happening to everyone is they lost momentum. But that's not a personal thing. That's the energy field and how we transmit from one another without going in opposition. If we totally transmit everything we know, feel, sense, want, the whole lot, and don't transmit it at anything, it causes movement, which circulates all the energy fields and keeps everybody steady and able to move around without running into one another. And they can show you this scientifically. The key to it is no opposition, no comparison, no measurement. And as soon as you realize that you can throw it all out there and it will never come back at you, it'll just create a beautiful field that interacts into colors that you can see. One of the indicators that you're in a field that works properly for you is that you can see the colors. When you first open your eyes, you see the colors, and they're different every day. Even though it's the same painting, the colors are different. Every person you look at looks different every time you look at them. And you never get a sense that you know everyone because you're re-meeting them every time you see them. You're really not interested in painting a picture of them because it's already there. So the key to everything that you will ever need is that you're just a little bit off that special spot that you know is perfect. And you don't have to do anything to get there except feel that you want to be there. And that happens 100% of the time if you're sitting in a field that allows it. So as soon as I said those words, there was this sense of, oh, well, it's not my fault. Therefore, I don't have to do anything. It's nobody's fault. And when I say you don't have to do anything, you don't have to do anything like you've ever done before. What you'll find you'll be doing is 1,000 times as much. Like a little child, they never stop. They don't sit still. They run around chasing their spirit, chasing one another. They don't really care what you think. And neither does spirit. You watch a great show or watch someone hit a home run. There's no thought. You just jump out of your chair and yell. And afterwards you think, oh, that was a bit outlandish, but it wasn't. That's how you're supposed to be. Every part of your life, you've got to be jumping out of your chair. And that's not done by planning anything. That's done by deciding you're able to. And the only way you'll do that is by knowing that you're never going to run into anybody or anything once you let your spirit fly. So I've only got to do that, and you can feel it, because nobody knows why. If they knew why, they'd stop it. It's instant, it's for everybody, and it creates movement that accelerates your world. And that acceleration of your world is all you're interested in. You really don't care what the plan is. As long as your world's accelerating and it's exciting, and you can see that you're really satisfying yourself in every minute, you don't care about the rest of it, because it's not part of your world. The world that we manage to paint ourselves into a corner with is just stifling. But as soon as you decide to step that tiny little bit into your world, it disappears totally, because it cannot support your frequency. Nothing has ever been known that can stop someone's spirit. They'll just go for it, and it doesn't matter what the rules are, or even if they're going to have to jump off a roof. It'll be done, it'll work, because they're not driven by thought or all the reactionary things that we've taught ourselves. So in looking at advancement, you've got to see that it's another quality that we have that has no connection to anything that we've known in the past. And to be able to know that, you have to be able to stand almost in midair without leaning on anything. And knowing you can never run into anything, you're completely independent. And even if you come up against someone, your energies will go straight through without touching. And the other person will feel thrilled instead of knocked out, because it creates movement in their energy field and produces more than you've ever been able to express. The senses of the body have not even been opened up yet. Not even a fraction. And that's why we're getting all disturbed, because things don't feel good enough. It's the movement of everybody's interaction, not just in this world, but all the friends that are visiting us right now. They move when I move, and you feel it. And that changes the sensations in and around your body, but also it gives you access to all the dimensions and areas that you talked about and wondered how to get there. So in a moment, you can visit them all and have no concerns about how or why or what it means. And if you remember what Tinkerbell's like, never stays still, drops fairy dust on everyone, and moves on, and knows that the job's done. Does not even look back. And that's the key to our existence. Total confidence that we drop the fairy dust and we don't even have to look back, because it's sparkled everybody into the right mode, and they feel great even if they were cranky. And you do not have to be involved in anything except what you're doing. When we move into the elements, bring physical satisfaction back into the physical world, we start to get all tied up with reasoning and how does this happen, and what have I got to do? But if you're acting like Tinkerbell and you need the wall to move, it moves. You need the car to go somewhere, it goes. You need it to run without fuel, it does. You don't really need to do anything because it's happening before you get there. So the future is the picture you have, and that picture is generated before you get there. And it ends up that the future was actually behind the present. Brain says, how do you do that? That's how it is. That's how it always works. If you're standing in that place that works perfectly for you. Because why would you want to have to plan anything? The moment you expose yourself to what you need, that's the future. Why would you want to put it the other way around? You put it the other way around because you want everybody to stop and do it your way. So that's what the plan was many years ago. To reverse everything so that people would be obedient. There's no need to do that. And there's no need to not do it. If you can see that when you're in that right place, and that right place is only known by you, everything happens before it appears. And you just smile. You can't get a smile off your face because you know that's exactly what was supposed to happen. And it's a thrill every time because it's a miracle every time. So advancement is a combination of going back to what we had before we realized we lost it, and then looking for the tools of the unknown and being game enough to go there. Game enough to do it without naming it and without describing it. And then your whole system will transmit the result. And you'll walk around with an amazing glow. And your eyes will sparkle, and every movement will sparkle everyone else. And the measuring system has not even got a place, because you don't really need money. You just need the result of what it used to bring. And in the magic place of your own advancement, the universe can't refuse. That's one of the things that has been known forever. Every time you need something, it's provided. But then you run around and say, but where is it? I asked for $50 and it didn't turn up. Spirit doesn't ask for $50. Spirit just keeps going and watches everything bloom around it. Your flowers, everything you need around you, in the area close to you. Every person you need turns up. Every experience you need turns up. But you didn't decide what the experience was. You're just so enthused by the fact that they keep flowing. And you don't have to stop and get back and describe them to somebody. And there you get to a point where someone says, I want you to look at this method for doing that. And you'll go, huh? I don't know what you're talking about. Method? Never thought of it before. See you later. And you just keep flitting on through life and enjoying every moment. So now that we're at that point, I can actually fold it up into a place where you will never lose it, because it's yours. And you don't have to protect it, and it doesn't go away. And it's there all the time. And for everybody, no matter what they do, they won't be able to get rid of it. So I don't know what more to do than that. Excuse me, I'll have a drink. So as this develops, there'll be lots of things that I can bring to you as tools that belong to another world. And they produce results in this world that can be described. But the tools can't be described, and how you use them can't be described. It's like the magician waving his hand and something appearing. Don't be surprised if that happens, because that's a possibility that, you know, I would say be in the 80 to 90% area of happening to everyone. Things will just appear and you won't know where they came from. And it doesn't matter, because you're quite happy with the fact that things disappear and then reappear. When entities play games within you put your keys on the table, you come back, they're not there. There's nobody else in the house. And you search everywhere, and after a while you walk back and they're on the table. You accept that, but you won't accept the fact that they don't have to disappear first. They can appear out of anywhere, and they didn't have to exist before, because one of the tools is you have the ability to take the structure which is beyond the atomic structure and move it into a place where it will change format. And that's done by your connection to everything. So as you're connected to everything, you can generate, and they're not frequencies, they're impulses at a frequency. So they come together just like a laser beam. You know, you watch the laser beam, it's a single beam of light, but somehow it just stops and it shows a point because that's its focal length. And so they send it out at a complex frequency with a pulse, so that at some point they're exactly the same. And that's where you see it in the show you wrote, where they're drawing things and making holograms with laser. We have that ability naturally with everything, provided we're working from where we belong. And that's in our own perfection. And so don't be surprised if after a while you feel it's quite natural for things to appear that you needed. And they won't be stolen from somewhere else, even though they look like they've come from one of the local stores or whatever. The exact thing will just appear. One of the major parts of your future is to know that you can go well beyond even your imagination. That's why we talk about you know, our own personal power. It's not a power that needs conversion. It's a power that will do things directly, that you can hold a battery and charge it. You didn't need a charger, and you didn't need to convert it to electricity, and you didn't need anything. But the battery works. So you don't have to know how to convert it. You don't have to match science. And if you want someone to be warm, you just decide they should be warm, and they'll almost burn, almost immediately. Many of you do it with your hands, and you can put your hand on someone and heat them right up. It's not your hand that did it. It's the fact that you're touching them. You gave yourself approval to use unknown energies that are not energies to focus within that person and change things. Many of the healing powers are simply that. You've given yourself approval to use talents that nobody can see. But you have to do something that looks like it to satisfy the system. We don't have to do that. We can just decide and then walk on just like dropping fairy dust on someone. Just like there you go, you're okay now, and walk away. And they'll stand there and go, is that all? I'm okay now? You say, yeah, and keep walking. They'll work so hard to get sick again, to try and make sure what you did doesn't work. You won't believe it. But after a while, everyone will prefer to be perfect life, perfect health, and a magic future. And that's the essence of it in words. And that's what we wish for one another. But that's what instigates this massive interface with something that's beyond the universe, that actually built the universe. It's the ability to put the universe together in any form you like. Because within ourselves, we're the same as the universe. We just made it look different. So humanity is a common strand, but within humanity, we're all way beyond even the universe. So as we get closer to a break, I just want to wrap that all up again into a packet where you know there are tools that you haven't got to describe. Tools that do more than magic. They don't even create. They make. Out of the finest of particles, they make our reality in physical form. And they're doing a little bit of it in science, where they've found that if they bombard something for long enough, it turns into gold. And there was no gold in it to start with. They found that out from people. So they're trying to do in a physical form something that we can do without even thinking. So I'm going to start a 5-minute break now. What I would like everyone to do is relax and walk around. Even if you're at home, just move around a bit and let your spirit dance, let your energies fly everywhere, and do a little bit of Tinkerbell sparkling. Okay, we'll see you again soon. All right, I think we're back. I'll get a camera to me in a second, but have a look at a great scene. There we go. Let's start right into it after the break and have a look at how the connection is almost stopped. So everything's pretty flat until I actually connect back to you all. This will be the same at home. It just takes a little moment for that connection to be allowed in your world, because it is your world, and I can access your world, but I can't really talk to you unless you feel my presence, which is starting to happen again. And as you start to feel my presence, you feel your own. So it's not mine that you're feeling, it's your own presence, and I'll show you. It's all to do with you. I'm just a catalyst that allows you to amplify your own sense of being. I can also open up a lot of those filters that you've put on over the years, where you close everything off and say, I'll have a little look. I can make them disappear whenever you need that to happen. But if you actually step to where we were talking about, you can't find those filters, because you can't have a filter on your own world so that you can't see in unless you're outside your world. So all the rules and regulations and filters and do's and don'ts and I don't like and maybe that's better is because you're looking from the outside in. It's not the external world that does that. It's you standing outside your world, because in your world, everything's included and it's in the right place. It's in perfect harmony and it doesn't clash with anything. All colors, all movement, all senses, all fit. And you can prove that because no matter what happens, even if it's a major accident, you end up going into a place where you're okay. Even if your body's broken, you go into a place that's okay. And you can actually get out of your body and say, well, you look after that. And this is the case that I want to talk about. In your own being, without taking into account what we were talking about before, you find incidences where you go beyond anything anybody could imagine, and you don't know how you did it. That is done automatically as soon as you get out of the control that you thought you had over your life. You can fall over or run into a wall or whatever, and your life changes immediately because you had it all under control. Where you're going is now quite different. You're going to where you don't have anything under control. And that's freaky when you're outside of your own life. But it's not when you're in there. Because why do you need to control everything that's running perfectly? You don't need to. And it won't matter what you do in the future. You won't be concerned about all the things you're concerned about now. This is the part of advancement that you can put into your brain, your history, the whole lot, where it says, everything I'm doing now is really not important. None of it. Because the automatic part of me leaves it all behind. the instant it has to switch in. The instant there's an emergency, a whole different part of you takes over. So you can actually record all that and then say, for many, many years, I've proven that I don't have to do the stuff that I do every day. But then I go and get up the next morning and say, well, I'll have to prove it again. And each time there's an emergency, it's proven. Each time there's childbirth, it's proven. Everything changes. Your whole system works differently. And it's not just your body. Everybody knows there's more than that. So if you take that proof and say, all right, even in logical terms, I'll decide not to do that again. You get up in the morning and you say, well, what am I going to do today? And your whole, I've got to do something comes in. And your brain goes all funny. And you think, I'm sick. I have to be. I can't do anything. I can't remember anything. Life's gone crazy. But if you stay with that for one day, you'll then find that you start to smell the flowers, even when there's no flowers around. You see beyond your normal sight. You are so busy, you don't even have to tell your body to move. And that interest will flood you for another day. Then after that, all the energy comes in and you have it all because it's your world. And you don't have to do anything, but you find you're doing 100 times as much as you were before with ease, total ease. So that transition, maximum 2 days. You go on a course, 4-day course, pay a lot of money, find more ways of going around the same circle. Whereas all you have to do for yourself, one decision, I don't think I'll do that again, and then watch what happens. Wait for 1 or 2 days and you'll find yourself flying through life without needing to explain anything, knowing it all without having to register it, forgetting everything with ease because you know how to access it. And telling people it's not really interesting to remember somebody's phone number when you can look it up. Or you can wait for a few seconds, it'll turn up to you, or someone will give it to you. All those things you can physically decide to let go. But if you simply enjoy following your spirit and knowing it never stands still, it's just like Tinkerbell. You'll find yourself starting to move around without moving in your chair. You can't sit still really well because everything's moving and you're following it, and the excitement builds, and there it is, right back again. And you can all feel it. And all I did was say, remember this. And it grows and grows and grows. And all the stuff you were thinking about while I was talking before, gone. Not interested. That's what I wanted to demonstrate. When you're not interested, you're working with the unknown. And that really excites us. And when you're not interested and smiling, people say, what the hell's wrong with you? I don't know. I'm just really having a good time. But you're not doing anything. Oh, that's what you think. I'm really chasing around after a spirit. I haven't caught the bugger yet. Excuse the language. So now, everything in our life means nothing. Everything in the future means everything. Because you look to the future and you chase it, before you get there, it's appeared. You chase your life, you chase the fairy, you chase the impossible. And you never even bother about getting stuck. Because if you did get stuck, it's only because you decided to step out of the race, not be in the movement, not be in the chase, not be in the excitement of being alive. And we've now got to a point where we should see that off too, because it's really great to be alive. And many people are walking around saying, oh, I don't know. I think it's great to be alive. And it's a privilege that we gave ourselves, that we have total control over, and that we can elevate every minute of every day. So what we're doing here is just giving you a little experience so you remember. That part of you that excites itself came with you. The part that doesn't excite itself, you learned here. So the bit you brought with you is more important than the bit you designed here. So all the things you built here are going to eventually disappear, go into the ground again. All the money you make, you're going to spend it. So spend it so that you really feel like you wasted it. And then you're excited. Everything is totally reversed when you are in your own world. The happiness you give yourself is really through stupidity. And if you can't be stupid, you're in someone else's world. Because the only person that allows you to be stupid is you. Everybody else will say, what's wrong with you? So everything we do every minute will advance us into the world beyond worlds. The one that you enjoy when you're laughing, the one that has no connection to this strange vibration that we're in. And it is, it's a really strange vibration. You walk near some people and you think they're going to cut your legs off because their vibration is so sharp, and you just want to get away. But if you don't care, it changes before you get there. And you don't care when you're laughing and having fun and being stupid. So when you get up each morning, it's really, really good to do the opposite to what comes to mind. Just in that first second. Because how many say, oh, I think I'll stay here a bit. Or I'm a bit tired. And if you jump up really quick, you'll shock yourself that much. You'll be in your own world and you won't even remember being in bed. You won't chew over everything that was wrong yesterday. And it'll be gone. Because the only thing that can exist in your world is what you allow. And if you're not in your world, how can you allow anything? All you do is paint the outside. You paint the outside a different color every day. Or you call it a mood. And you live through it for days. But it's not your world. Because your world is absolutely flamboyant and stupid and exciting and ready to do anything, particularly chase your spirit. And the Tinkerbell picture is the best one I've ever struck for that. But if you watch a child, you can see that they're following something. Even when they're playing, they're following something. They're never doing anything except chasing their spirit. And it's so joyful. So can you imagine going into an office, all very serious, all very clinical, lines and lines of computers, people with heads down, and you just start to sparkle everybody as you walk through? A little bit of mischief, Stop a computer every now and then. Next thing, you'll have a really nice lot of people enjoying themselves, because that's what they want. They don't want to sit there and be nailed to the floor. And so who cares that nobody knows how you stop a computer, but you can. You can restart it as well. And as I'm talking, many things stop around me, or I'm transmitting too much and the mic turns off. And sometimes when I'm in some of our movies, I'm talking the volume on one camera and it's not there on the other. And it changes depending on what I'm sending where. So I have to concentrate sometimes, and Victoria gave me a signal a while ago that she couldn't hear me. So I was talking to everybody and not to the mic as well. And that's how selective you can be. So your dimensional shifts are part of your excitement. You start to have fun and someone doesn't have fun with you, boom, all of a sudden they're in a different dimension. They go, oh, where'd I go? You just chucked them out. And it's as quick as that. And you're all capable of doing it. You've been doing it since you're this high. Yeah. So you can also do the other way around. And you can invite all dimensions in. And as soon as they're all there, you watch, nothing runs into anything. And we have a beautiful life by being able to move and change things and just be flamboyant in every second. And those who don't take it, you just go, and they sit there and watch it. But they're not there. It's not a method, but I'm just explaining how easy it is in life to access all the things that we say we don't have. That's classed as stupid, but in fact, that's a method by which we start to self-program ourselves to the point where we can't have fun anymore because there's too many rules. That's the definition of fun, isn't it? Breaking the rules. So the more rules there are, the more fun you can have. Because they forget that we're magic. And someone puts a rule up, and hammers you with it, you just use your magic. Either don't focus on it, cut it out, turn it around, turn it upside down, whatever you like. Don't focus on it, just be like the child and flamboyant and chase your spirit. And if it runs into it, it's because it was going on a straight line it's not supposed to. Everything follows natural, non-linear, unpredictable path unless we change it. So when we run into one another, it's because we held the wheel tight until we went, gotcha. We don't need to do that. And you won't do it in your own world because you love the feeling of going through everybody's energy. It's just exciting. You know, you remember where you came from. That's what you did. Straight through and, oh, shocked the hell out of everyone. And young girls do it all the time. Walk past the boys and then giggle because they're all standing there with their mouths open. But this is the way life is. And it's so exciting if we're advancing. And we're not advancing unless we're advancing into that magic that goes beyond anything we really know. And the biggest trap is to define it. So don't define anything, experience it, be as stupid as you can. And after today, I'm sure everyone will feel the capability of following their spirit whenever anything is out of order. Because you'll remember the little child, you'll remember Tinkerbell, you'll remember being stupid because it made you smile. It made you laugh and it made you lighthearted. And that's our true nature. But that's not the end of it. That's the start of it. The additional tools we've got will keep coming and coming and coming, and you'll all just start to do things that amuse you. You'll make something happen down the road that amuses you. Or how many times have you almost caused an accident and you go, oh, gee, sorry, I was a bit intense there. Do the opposite. Reverse it all so that it prevents an accident. And it's good fun. Change the traffic. Everyone can do that. And when you get in amongst people, you can be lighthearted and you can let your energies fly. Don't be surprised if you zap someone and sparks don't come off you, because we have that capability. And to zap someone at the right time is very serious. To zap them at the wrong time is disastrous. But spirit doesn't care. It just goes on and takes no notice of anybody's reaction. And you'll find out of all those magic interactions, everyone's life improves. And you have no idea what that change in energy field is. If you happen to walk too close to someone and you discharge into their field, you may have cured everything in their life. Because that's how spirit works. I always say, if someone hits a home run and you're sitting in your home team's seat and you've got a broken leg, you'll still jump out of the chair. It won't stop you, because that brilliance that it brings to life doesn't care about our physical condition. That's why little old ladies can pick up trucks in emergencies. And it's nothing to do with adrenaline or anything like that, because, if you pump adrenaline into someone that age, you kill them. It's to do with an external movement of, and it's not a force, movement of potential that allows everything to be different. It's a little bit like, you get 10 burly men pick up a truck and you get 10 little women make the truck melt. That is the power that we're talking to. It's so big you wouldn't believe it. So our natural energy field, we've spoken about, we've lived. This is beyond that. This is beyond technology, and it's beyond thought patterns. It's a natural inflection of the basic structure of both the physical world and the fields that come from, I can only state it as the unknown, but it's the places that we can go whenever we want to. So everyone can daydream and experience that daydream like it was here now. That's another dimension, but it's part of our reality. That's where we test everything, because we know that there's only one factor in there that's different to here, is there are no repercussions. If you fall off a tree, you don't get hurt. so you can run through an experiment with everything, and it will take you there physically. You can go to the beach, you can go out with a boyfriend, pick up a girlfriend, whatever you like, and the repercussions aren't there. And that can run as clear as this reality in everybody's life. If you weren't told to stop daydreaming when you're little, you'd still be walking around with two worlds. And you'd be able to test everything. The reason why I'm mentioning these things is because you need to know that there's a lot more that you've experienced. But what you haven't experienced has a number that you can't express. It is beyond anything that we can express. It's not beyond our recognition. So you will find yourself stupidly do something that is so magical and so out of this world that everyone won't believe you until they do a similar thing themselves. Where we're going, nobody does anything similar. Everybody does everything different. Totally. You don't run into one another. There is no measuring, no comparison. It's just perfect and brilliant for each person. And the tools that each one of you have, totally different. Not even expressible in this world. And that's why it's great to all be together. Because we don't clash. We all put on a show for one another. And we're all happy to sparkle one another because there's no clash. It's a great experience to be in everybody's field and a greater experience to go beyond that. So I think we're about where I wanted to take you all. I want to close off with just a little bit of movement that will change the field that you go out into. And the calmness that you can have in all situations will stay with you. Thank you very much, and we'll probably see you next week. Thank you.